Hey guys, welcome to a new series that we're going to be doing called Get This Look. So let me tell you what happened and why I actually created and developed this finish last week. I adore Brooke and Steve Giannetti. They have a great vlog that they do that is a Patina Farm. And they are actually dear friends of ours, and they're an incredibly creative couple that they love beautiful patinas on furniture. And so I was watching one of the videos that Brooke Giannetti had done of a house that they have. It's their guest house, and there was a chest that was in their house that had this finish on it. And it got me to thinking. I was like, okay, knowing the period of that piece, knowing when that piece was probably painted, the finish that was done on it, how could I dissect it in such a way that I could show you how to be able to create this finish? So that's what I did. What I'm wanting to be able to do in these series of calling them Get This Look, I'm going to be showing you different finishes that probably anybody that does furniture would say, I'm not showing them how to do it. And that I can take the products that we have and pretty much create any finish that you would see from the 18th, 19th, or 20th century. So this is where working with products that's almost like chemistry, but the great thing about it is the products that I'm using have no VOCs. They're completely natural. It's like shopping in the food aisle, being able to put these products together. Now, I am going to be working with some pigments, and some of them can have compounds in them that you do want to make sure that you have on a mask. I have this mask, which we wear these in our office. So you'll want to make sure when you're working with the dust that from these pigments and things, that you want to make sure that you have a dust mask on. Well, what a sweet word, Amy. Thank you so much. Or Lisa, thank you. So welcome, guys. If you are catching me live, my name is Amy Howard, and I am the founder and creator of Amy Howard at Home Products. Gene always jokes and says he's the Howard and I'm the Amy. So it does take the two of us to be able to come up with a lot of this. But I was playing and developed this finish the other day, and I'm so excited to be able to show you how to do it. So I've also got, so excited. Next Wednesday, I'm gonna be showing you how to create black and gilt glazed chinoiserie to be able to put on your furniture, chest of drawers, beds. I saw a bed and I was like, I'm gonna show them how to do that. So I'm really excited about this whole process of teaching you how to be able to create these finishes. So it's fairly simplistic, but what I want you to start doing as you're learning this is to start thinking about, in order to get really great looking finishes, you're going to have to be layering. The only way to get a great finish is layering, is being able to see all these different looks of color just kind of poking through. Does that make your heart go pity pat? Hey, Terry from Nashville. Welcome. That would be Theo, our dog, that comes to the shop with us. And sometimes if he hears a truck or something goes by, he starts barking. He's a great Pyrenees, and he's a great office dog. So, and also, if you've never caught me before live, this is what we do. In order to be able to say thank you, and we believe that sharing is caring, if you will share this video, it helps us to to build our business, our desire to be able to teach others the right way to do this, because we want to rescue and restore the over 30 million tons of furniture that we throw away in this country every year. And we really are all about teaching. That's why I take time out from running our companies to be able to show you how to do this. Bradley, that's hilarious. It's so funny when our dogs hear other dogs, they start barking. So it's so funny. Maybe your dog's hearing Theo bark, and so they just start something. It's their way of communicating. So, hey, Donna from Texas. So as you pop on, share this video, and your name will go in for a drawing that I'm going to be giving you the Toscana milk paint and one of the pigments that I'm going to be working with today. It's as easy as that. So if you share, you're showing that you care, and your name will go in for a drawing that we will be drawing day after tomorrow, and then we will be sending out that free product to the winner. So that's all. And it's our community. It's our tribe of people, that somebody that you know that loves redoing furniture, say, hey, you need to check this video out. It's pretty fab. All right, so I'm going to turn this down. I want you to be able to see the products and the steps that I'm going to be going through, and hopefully Theo will behave himself. All right, so here we go. All right, so I'm going to be working with a combination of several different products. One, I'm working with our Venetian Plaster. Two, I'm going to be working with La Gustuvian. It's one of our Toscana milk paints. We make all of this in-house. This is all made here in our studio. And then the other thing, I have 4 different pigments. I have Laura Earth, La Gustuvian, Venetian Yellow, and Marche Gray. So these are the pigments that I'm going to be working with. All right? So as I'm trying to do in this series of teaching you, I want you to start seeing things in layers. So I've started here just on raw wood. Now, if you want to be able to start on an existing finish when you're working with milk paint, my suggestion would be to put on a coat of the One Step. The One Step will bind to an existing shellacked finish that you do not have to sand it, prime it, or prep it, and you will be able to have a good surface to start with. So let's say you're not starting with raw wood. I would come back and do the probably either Ballet White or Bauhaus Buff on your piece. Clean it first with clean slate, as we always tell you, and then that way allow it to dry for a couple of hours, and then you're ready to go. So we'll start at this point. But I'm going to show you how to start with raw wood. So let's put this over here. And I've taken my Toscana milk paint with my La Gustuvian. Could you see that? Gustuvian, tomato. So welcome, guys. As you're coming on here, I can't see you and be able to teach you, but I will go back and answer these questions that you may have. So to mix this up, when you are working with pigments, it's best to mix them in a dry form before you add any water, okay? So I'm going to take, I've already got my color mixed up. And there again, if you're just now popping on, part of the reason why I developed this finish was because I was watching a video, and Brooke Giannetti had a piece of furniture that looked like this. And I thought, I know how to create that finish. That it's similar. Now, their piece was done in the 18th century, but when I'm using the same products, guys, that was used in the 18th century, I can get a look like that. I'm not using a bunch of chemically laden synthetic products. I am using the same recipes, the same products that would have been used for hundreds of years. All right? So I'm going to take 2 parts La Gustuvian. So I'm going to do 1, 2. It's a lot like cooking. Then I'm going to have 1 part Laura Earth. This is a pigment. So this is a pure pigment. I'm going to do 1 part Laura Earth, a 1/2 part Venetian Yellow, and 1 part La Gustuvian pigment. See how bright that is? All right. So then when you're working with making customized milk paints, you always want to mix your recipe first in a dry form. All right, so mix that all together. I have one that's already here that I've mixed up completely. And then this is the color that I wanted to be able to get. There again, you're going, why is she making that color? Because when I saw the piece of furniture online that Brooke Giannetti had, I loved it. And I had to come up with a color that wasn't too bright, that was warm enough, but that still was kind of in this red family. Now, we are going to be putting these pigments on the website later because otherwise I couldn't show you how to be able to create, how to do this finish. Now, you can, let me talk to you. Here's the teacher in me. Now, maybe you're like, well, Amy, I'm not crazy about that rose color that's coming through. Could I do that in a dark gray? Absolutely. So what are you going to do? You're going to paint your board in a medium value darker gray. Let's say that you're like, Amy, I don't really like that rosy color, but could I do it in a yellow, like a darker yellow? Could I do it in chocolate? Could I? The answer is yes, yes, yes. Whatever you want your base color to be, what's peeking through, ooh, Carol, I love that. I should call it pomegranate. Ooh, love that. It just changes the whole idea of it. That, I like this pomegranate color. But you can make it any color you want. The color that's peeking through is your first coat, okay? All right, so I've mixed up my paint. Let's go back, ask questions. Please, if you're catching me live, share this video with your friends, especially if they redo furniture, share it. And then that way your name will go into a drawing that we're gonna be giving away free product after tomorrow. All right, so I've mixed that up. What a yummy color, thanks to y'all. We're gonna call it pomegranate. And when you're working with the milk paint, we wanna do it 1 part water, 1 part powder. The reason, it's really milk. It's casein, and you're gonna wanna be able to make sure you mix it up. Now, when you've added pigments, it's gonna fight just a little bit with you. You're gonna have to stir it a little bit more, but eventually, it's gonna blend into this yummy color. Now, what I will do is I'll stir it up, and I will make it kind of thick, like a paste. After I've got it into the paste form, I'll start coming back and I'll add my water a little bit at a time until I get to the consistency that I want it. Now, here's something interesting, something that I want you to remember. I always talk to you about mixing your paint really thin when you're going to be antiquing it, because you are not antiquing this first coat. It's going to be about 100% coverage. You can make your paint just a little bit thicker, okay? All right, so I have it that I have put it in a container like this, and I shook it up. So that's what I'm going to be using to paint. So I'm going to use a chip brush, and I'm going to dip it down in here. Actually, could probably pour this into something. And then I'm going to paint this on. Now, I will tell you, we did 2 coats of this color. And if you're just now popping on and you're asking what color, go back and watch the very beginning. I went over with you what I used, and these pigments are going to be available on the website to allow you to be able to mix this color. You can mix, if you want to be able to create custom colors, guys, you can actually mix different milk paints that we have and make your own custom colors. Mix them in a dry form first. All right, so I'm going to let this dry. It's going to dry very, very quickly. Milk paints dry very quickly. So for those of us that don't have a lot of patience, it really comes in handy. So I'm going to allow that to dry about 15 minutes. Then I'm going to put a second coat on. And then it's going to look like this. All right? So now, one thing, a lot of times, if you didn't mix up your milk paint really well, you might have little pellets from your actual pigment. You can go over that with some 400 grit sandpaper, just very lightly. I don't want you distressing it. This is about getting this base coat color, because this is the look that we're going for on this finish. So this yummy pomegranate color is just kind of peeking out underneath, okay? Now, step 2. We're gonna take our Venetian Plaster. All Venetian Plaster is not the same, guys. You cannot go to a hardware store and get a synthetic plaster and get this look. It's not gonna work. Let me tell you. all Venetian plaster is not the same, just like all food is not the same. This has 3 key ingredients: marble dust, calcium carbonate. Does anybody want to tell me the third one? I know I've got some of my students on here. Somebody tell everybody, what are the 3 single ingredients that make up Venetian plaster? I'm gonna wait just a minute. I want somebody to tell me. I saw Renee on here. I saw some of my Old World Finishing group. Marble dust, calcium carbonate, and lime. That's it. Calcium carbonate, marble dust, and lime. Good job, Susan. Yes, lime. That's all that's in here. There's not a bunch of pixie dust. Michelle, can I use that? Can I say it's got pixie dust in it? Love that. The whole thing could be pixie dust. So, it's got lime. So, that's the yummy goodness that makes this like butter, as Barbara says, like butter. Putting butter on your finish. So, all right, y'all are like, she talks too much. I have people like, she talks too much. I'm like, I'm sorry. It's my way of teaching you. And if I tell you little stories, things that you'll kind of remember, you'll go, oh, that's right, that's what that was. It makes the whole process of learning how to really do beautiful finishes like this a little bit more fun. So, hey, Sarah, hey, Amy, how are you? Please share this video. Sharing is caring, and then that way your name will go in for a drawing that I'm going to give away some Toscana milk paint to the person that we draw their name. All right, so let me turn this down again. Let's continue on with this finish journey on Get This Look. So I put 2 coats on of my custom color that I made from my Love Gustuvium. I made sure that it's nice and smooth. And now I'm taking my Venetian plaster. I'm going to take just a little bit out. It has a reclosable container, makes it really easy to work with. And then I'm going to take my Marche Gray pigment and I'm going to tint it just a little bit. Again, when you are tinting your plaster, you want to make sure you do it when it's in a dry form. You don't want to mix it. You don't want to mix the plaster with water and then add your pigment. It's not going to get dispersed as well. So when you add your pigment, you can also add milk paint to tint plaster. I knew when I saw this piece of furniture that Brooke had that it needed to be more of a pale gray color instead of a pure white. So that's why it's good to be able to come back when you're going to be doing plaster on furniture and just tint it. I'm going to add just a little bit more. I would suggest when you're doing this, make enough to be able to do your entire piece of furniture. All right, and then just add your water and mix it up together just like we do our milk paint. Make it kind of thick, stir it up, make a paste, and then continue until you have it about the consistency of this. See about how this drops? Look at this. Boom. All right, so now you're gonna have to work with a trowel. This is a Pavin trowel. You see how it's got these rounded corners? This is what you use. It's stainless steel, and it's great to be able to use when you are working with plaster. You cannot work with plastic trowels when you're working with plaster. They have to be metal. So this one has a really nice grip handle to be able to hold it. Here's what's interesting. A lot of people don't realize this, but because we have lime, calcium carbonate, and marble dust in this, what happens when these molecules from these ingredients make contact with this metal, they literally come alive. And when you start burnishing it, it will make it look like marble. It'll have a sheen of marble. That's why it's used so much on walls, on tops of furniture. Now, what I do is I load up a little bit on the left side. I'm right-handed. So I will do just a little line, because that way when I start to go work on it to apply it, it's on the correct side. So as you're holding it, if you're right-handed, just do a little line of it like that on the left-hand side. So that way when you start to go to apply it, it's going to go on really nice and easy. Here's the other thing. I want you to go with the grain of the wood. So if you're applying this on a piece of furniture and you have a chest of drawers, try to lay it down so you're going from left to right, not up and down. Is everybody with me? All right. So now I'm going to lay this down. Here's what's kind of crazy. Can you believe this goes from this to this? Can y'all see that? From this to this. Now, you see that color poking underneath? How gorgeous it is? And how the plaster that we're going to be putting on top, it lets you just kind of see the transformation process that we're going to go through. So as you're doing it, you're going to notice that I'm laying it at a 45-degree angle. I can turn my trowel from side to side. And I love to make it kind of sing. Hear that? So that way, as I'm applying it, I want to get it to where it's everywhere. I love even pulling it like that. Let me apply just a little bit more. Guys, I will be answering your questions. Hold on. Let me look at you really quickly. Hey, Laurie, thanks for sharing. Thanks so much. Does this get y'all excited? Are y'all going, oh my gosh, like that's the best looking finish? Do y'all not see this on a chest of drawers? Look at this. This, oh my gosh, could you do this finish on a wall? Uh-huh, yes you could. Could you do this on top of burlap? Uh-huh, and then hang it as wallpaper? Uh-huh, it's beautiful. Guys, things like this is why I love my job. This is why I'm so passionate about the products and because it allows you to be able to do stuff like this. This is a game changer. Okay, all right, so I gotta turn this down. Looking good. How do you get into the corners? Well, Lisa, it depends on, oh, thanks for the love, Amy. It's gonna depend on what you're working on. So I'm thinking, as I'm doing this, I'm working on a chest of drawers, or I'll work on the top, or I'll work on the sides. I'm gonna work my way around it. Here the thing is, if there's some areas that's kind of difficult to get to, I'm just going to get around to the top of it and pull it down. You can't mess this up. Not on the front of the piece. Small corners, not on the front of the piece. I know, Amy, plasters, I don't know. I have a lot of favorites. I love milk paint. I love it. I love it all. It's like, do you have a favorite child? No, you can't have a favorite child. You love them all differently. All right, so we're just going to get this on here. You saw about the consistency that we had our plaster. I'm not real concerned. I don't want to get it all around on the edges. You know why? Because look at this. I want this sticking out. I want to be able to see that color underneath, so you don't have to get all this coverage. See these little holidays like this? Holidays are our friend. These are not holidays that are vacations, guys. These are holidays. That's an art term. That's what they're called. So, now, you have to kind of let this set up for a minute. Now, I'm going to need to clean this off. Be really careful because these metal trowels are very, very sharp. And it's really good to kind of have a little container of water next to you when you're working on that to clean it off, because if you don't, and you have plaster that starts to dry on this, it will create indentations. All right, so now let's just see if it's kind of come to tack a little bit. I'm going to drag it. Look at that. And now watch. Now I'm putting quite a bit of pressure. Ta-da! See what's happening? Now, look at this. See, I'm pulling the plaster off. I'm going to put that back in my cup. Watch this. So I'm going to drag it because I want to pull that color through. Now you see how I'm going to have to get some water over here, and I'm going to have to clean my tool because I don't want it to have scrapes that I don't have control over. Now I'm just going to turn it this way. These little nicks, oh, they're so my friend. Now sometimes I'll even kind of come around on the top. So let's imagine that I am working on a chest of drawers. Look at this. Is this so yummy? So you see my plaster is starting to kind of set up. And sometimes I may dig a little bit to kind of pull that color out depending on how much I'm wanting to have. And then I'll go back on top of it like that and kind of fold that in. Oh, is that fab? Are y'all loving it? Let me show you that again. So you can take the top part of that, kind of chisel out just a little bit. My plaster is still kind of wet. Fold back over it. See, look at that. Is that so easy, so fun? Now, what happens as it starts to dry, this is going to go into a more solid finish to where it's going to look more like this. Now, one thing I want you to start really be thinking about composition, how you're wearing it, how you're pulling it, and you may go, that area sticks out. Now, you do need to be careful. So, when you are looking at it, we've got to talk about oval eye track, composition. So, let's look at this part right here. Our eye comes here. That area is showing that beautiful pomegranate color underneath. Our eye comes here. What does it do? It comes over to here. Then where does it go? It comes down here, and then it comes down here, and it comes back up. So I've got an oval eye track. Whether you are working on the drawer, whether you're working on the top, whether you're working on the side, on a wall, whatever, on a plaque, on a piece of art, could this be art? Yeah, it totally could. You could go to a maker studio once this dries, and you could put a stencil on top of it. You could do a scripture verse, you could do a word. Totally, like this could be a piece of art. So I hope, oh gosh, y'all don't realize, that is my prayer so many times that I think, I want the fact that I have done this now for 30 plus years, that I want the fact that I have spent and labored over something to make a difference in somebody else's life, that maybe this is a way that you're going to be able to make a living. Maybe this is going to be something that you're going to get excited about. Maybe this is a new business that you start. Maybe this is a way that you can provide extra income for your family. That means so much to me. That's eternal significance to me. That's why I get so excited. So think about oval eye track. As this dries down, it's going to go a little bit more milkier. It's going to be more opaque, and it's going to look more like that. Now, what do we need to do? Do we need to wax it? Nope. It's strictly an option. It is strictly something that I can come back, because if I burnish it, if I stay and I am burnishing this quite a bit, that marble in there, oh, thanks, Elizabeth, I'm so glad. That means so much to me, and thank you for taking the time to say that you are so in love with this technique. But if you continue to burnish it with this metal, it's going to get really shiny and beautiful. When I came over here this morning and I felt this, I was just like, oh, this feels amazing. To have a finish that's beautiful, but also that it feels great, that's hands down. Because what's one of the first things you do when you go over and you see a piece of furniture? You touch it. If it can excite your visual, and then when you touch it, that it feels like butter, it's a win-win. It's a home run. All right, so let me show you as far as the waxing process. Let's put this down one last time. Thank you for your patience. So if anybody's just kind of watching this, let's go over. So we started with raw wood. We made our custom milk paint color that you can go back in the very beginning and watch it. We put on 2 coats, so we got to this. If you want to be able to start on an existing piece and it's not raw, then paint it with the 1 step and then come back and put this on top. So, step 1, raw wood, paint. Step 2, put your plaster on it. Make sure to mix your plaster because you're working. I added a little bit of gray. You can use milk paint or you can use pigment. Mix it with your plaster, dry. Then mix it into a nice thick consistency like this. Put it on and pull it off, distress it. Make sure that it's distressed around the edges and that you have oval eye track. Then once it dries down, I want you to come back and I want you to do some light wax and dark wax. See why my hands look like this all the time? Now, because there is some lime in here, it will dry your hands out. So, but the cool thing about it is it'll wash off really quickly and very easily with just soap and water. All right, so I'm gonna take my hog hairs and I'm going to always use 2 different brushes. So I'm gonna load up my puck. This is when I like working with pucks. I love Mind Your Own Beeswax. I love that it's squeezable, but I do like working with the pucks. And I like the fact that this has a color to it because it is carnauba and it has beeswax in it. That's what that yummy color. When you're wanting to make something look a little older like this, that's when this more ambery color wax really comes in handy. I'll get just a little bit more. So guys, as you're watching me, just be sure and share this video. Your name will go in for a drawing that we're going to be sending you the pigments and the milk paint that I used today. Now, I'm doing this side because I've already done this side. Can y'all see that? I'm going to cover it up because I want you to be able to see the difference. Look at that. I'm in love. I'm so in love with that. So you want to be able to put your light wax on, allow it to come to tack. I'm going to push it just a little bit, and I really shouldn't, because I want to make sure that you allow this to dry. If I come right now and I put this dark wax on right after I did this, it's just going to meld and it's going to go muddy. And you want to make sure that it's more about accentuating it and not making a third color by mixing them. So I'm going to load that up, try to evenly distribute it. I'm going to offload it just a little bit on this wood. And then come back. I'm feathering it. I'm not doing it really heavy. See, it's really too soon for me to put that on here because I don't want it to go too dark. And then come back and just kind of model it and pull that through because I want it to look like this. This is my optimum. Isn't that gorgeous? So it's easy peasy. You'll make your custom color, which Carol is so great about saying, it's our pomegranate. Make your pomegranate milk paint. Tint your Venetian plaster with a gray. You can use milk paint or you can use the Marche Gray pigment. We're going to be putting those on the Amy Howard at Home website. Trial it on, allow it to show underneath, and then come back and add your light and your dark wax. Easy peasy. So thanks so much for sharing, Amy. Thanks, guys. Okay, I'm going to get in so much trouble, but I have to show you something. I've been telling you about this, and it won't be on the website till tomorrow, but look at this. Lisa, as far as my inspiration piece, I was on Brooke Gianetti's. She's a videographer, she's a friend, and a vlogger, and she has a piece in her guest house. And the picture was kind of blurry, and so Marty, who does social media, she was like, I don't want to post that picture. And I was like, okay, I'll just create the finish and then we'll post that so everybody can see it. So I'll go back and see if I can't find it, but it looked great. I'll be honest with you, this finish was dead on. It looked just like it was so much fun. All right, so look at this. This is a brand new product that we're going to be showing you on Friday. I know, Renee, it's so exciting. Guys, here's the deal on this. This absolutely leaves no brush marks. It dries completely matte. You will not see it. It's going to dry and you're going to go, Did I put anything on it? Because a lot of people, whether you're working on art, you're painting a floor, you're painting your kitchen cabinets, and you just want some sealant, but you don't want any sheen at all. You don't want any brush strokes. You don't want anything. There's a lot of people with my sister company in Maker Studio that do pieces with chalk art, and they like to be able to seal it. You will have never used anything like this in your life. If this is not your absolute favorite matte sealer, it won't be live on the website until tomorrow, I'll give you your money back because it is going to rock your world. I'm telling you. I am so excited. I cannot tell you how proud I am. And we are no longer going to be shipping, because I don't want to confuse our customers, we're not going to be shipping the old matte sealer anymore, because this is so much better. This is absolutely no brush marks, absolutely no sheen, and it gives you sealant and protection. You're going to love it, I promise. And it has no VOCs. It doesn't get any better than that. I love it, Donna. It's like we are a special tribe, aren't we? People that get excited over things like sealers and waxes and plasters and pigments. But it's just part of making a more creative, fun world. To me, my joy comes from showing you how to be able to create something like this. And then that way you can turn around, rescue a piece of furniture, and enjoy the bragging rights. Share this video, guys. Let's help people really understand how really well done executed finishes can be and how they can look. All right, guys, have a fantastic Wednesday, and we'll see you back here Friday, where we're going to be sharing tips and tricks on how to use the gel stain on top of existing ugly oak cabinets and sealing it with the new matte sealer. See you then. I love you. Thank you for the love, guys. Bye.